Hi, it's Miss Parrott, and welcome back to the AP Bio Exam Skills series. In this video, we're going to be looking at how to read graphs on the AP Bio exam, and this is my favorite thing about the AP Bio exam. Why? Because it's so easy to get points on stuff you have no clue about if you can just read a graph. So AP Bio will often give you scenarios that you've never heard of, right? Because your job as a biologist, think of this class as AP Biologist, not AP Biology. We're not just learning concepts, we're learning how to do the science and think like a scientist. So, graph questions are often answerable without any content knowledge. This is a super high return skill and is a great way to get easy points, even if the question is trying to confuse you. We're going to go through step by step and figure out how to answer these questions. So remember, the AP Bio test is really testing, when it's giving you a graph situation, your ability to identify the variables, describe trends, compare conditions, and justify your claims with evidence from the graph, right? Because a graph is just a picture of your data. We're going to go through some steps on how to do it. So first, step 1, read the axes of the graph before you read the question. So, right, don't forget your dry mix. Your dependent variable is on your y-axis. That's your responding or measured variable. Then your independent variable is on the x-axis, right? And so mix, that's your manipulated independent x-axis. Dry, dependent, responding, y-axis. Dry, mix. That's how I remember it. And the units do matter. So, because sometimes AP Bio will give you a question where the answer choices may have a similar trend, but be using the wrong units. So pay attention to your units. So on this graph, my reaction rate is being measured in O2 production per minute. And my enzyme concentration is being measured in micromoles per milliliter. So be sure you pay attention to that. Points are going to be earned here by referencing the variables correctly. So it could, you could have an FRQ, it describes a whole experiment, it shows you this graph of the results, and then it asks you to identify the dependent and independent variables and controls. And so, right, your independent variable will be here on the X, and your dependent variable will be there on the Y. You're not going to get points by just describing the shape without any biological meaning. So if you say like, the line on the graph goes up and then flattens out. Okay, but yeah, that's true. But what's going to get you points is being able to say reaction rate increases as enzyme concentration increases until it reaches a plateau. Then no matter how much you increase enzyme concentration, your reaction rate stays the same. By the way, I have another video on how to read change over time graphs. Be sure and check that out as well. So that's the first step. Read your axes. Step 2, identify your trends. So here are 4 basic trends. Now your graph may look different, and that's okay, or it might be some combination of these. So when you see this is an increase as X increases. So for each of these, as X increases, or goes this way, Y also increases. For this second one, as X increases, so as we go to the right, Y decreases. That's called an inverse relationship. This one over here in the green, the increase, this is called a direct relationship. These are directly related. These are inversely related. When you see a shape like this, like the one we saw on the previous board, that is a plateau. So we see an increase, and then at some point it levels out. You're going to see this in that enzyme situation I just showed you, when enzymes are saturated, or you will also see plateau in a logistic growth curve for a population, and maybe other scenarios. And then this is a peak. A peak is where it goes up, reaches a high point, and then goes back down. So in this case, as x increases, y increases, reaches a peak, and then decreases. You're going to see this one on things like how enzyme activity changes due to temperature and pH, right? And this peak will be the optimum. You could see that in many other cases as well. But your ability to use words to describe the trend, it's really easy to word it as x increases, right? So as we go from left to right on the graph, y does what, right? Does it go up? Does it go down? Does it zigzag? Does it level? That's your job. So again, you're going to get many points just by saying what happens, just by describing the trend. You may not even be asked why that's happening. Now, you might, but a lot of times just being able to describe the trend is all you need to be able to do to get points on the AP exam. Now, there are times when there's a why, and we'll get to that in a little bit. All right, step 3, we're comparing conditions. So you'll see maybe if you have a bar graph, right, 2 or multiple bars, 2 lines. Now remember, the AP Bio exam is in black and white. So if you have a line graph, you may have a straight line and then a dotted line to compare to. Or you may have, so here I have color, but you wouldn't see color in real life. But 2 different peaking lines. So in these kind of graph questions, right, which scenario is something higher or lower than the other? In which one is something happening faster or slower, right? Again, check out my change over time graph. It talks a lot about what slope tells you about how to interpret a graph. Or this one had a great change and this one had a smaller change. So maybe they're changing similarly, but in what ways are they changing differently? All right. So this is where we got to have data first thinking, right? What is the data telling me, right? And then we want to connect that to a biological explanation. And then that's when your content knowledge comes in. But you have to tell them what the data is saying first. Yep, and that's when we're comparing conditions. I will always remember one graph where there's like alligators in a pond and one is like murky and polluted and the other one's not. And then how does the population change or grow over time? So that's the bar graph I'm thinking of. All right, next step. Once you've done those, you're going to match your answer to the question stem. The question stem is not all that big background or the whole experimental description. It's that the line that actually has a question in it, has a question mark in it. And don't forget on these, when you are answering a question, the data that you're being given always outweighs your outside knowledge. Your outside knowledge should be there to help you support, to help you explain, but you want to be sure that when you're answering, your answer matches the data. So you want to make a claim, cite your evidence from the graph. No extra facts should be needed unless the question stem specifically asks you to explain or tell why or how something is happening. So here's an example. In this one, we have height in centimeters. That's our dependent variable. And time in days here on the x-axis. So that's our independent variable. We measured time in plant group A and B. So what we could do is say treatment A plants, so maybe these were given fertilizer, these grew faster than group B. Well, how do we know they grew faster? As indicated by, so we're going to bring our data in, right? Citing evidence from the graph, as indicated by group A having a steeper slope from day 1 to 7. So because A has a steeper slope, that means that the change was faster over time than B. So what's great about this skill for AP Bio is that if you are fluent in graph reading here, and you're using that for AP Bio, you can easily transfer that skill into like the ACT test. So the ACT in the United States is one of the tests that students can take to help them get into college. And so the ACT is all about can you think like a scientist, and especially can you read a graph? And so if you are fluent here, you're going to be able to get answers to like in your mind, right, more quickly. You're going to have fewer careless errors, and you're going to be more confident going into both of those tests. In order to practice this skill, you need AP style practice, right? So not just generic graph practice, but like AP style practice that's what's going to build from like, oh yeah, I can read a graph, to like I can do it quickly, easily, and correctly most of the time. Some easy resources are AP Classroom. So they have old multiple choice questions on there. Also, you can just go to the AP College Board website. They have released all the old FRQs. So just go through and find any one that has a graph on it and work through that one. I actually, for this type of question, encourage students to get an ACT, not an AP Bio, but an ACT Science Review book, the science section only, because that is full of graphs and can you think like a scientist things. Also, it has science situations that aren't necessarily stuff you already know, but again, it's things you can figure out from reading the graph. So that, I mean, I used to assign questions from these to my students in AP Bio class because they're really good. And then also I will be making in the coming month resources, TPT, Know and Grow with Gnomes. Now I already have a whole bunch in my DY over DT, my change over time bundle and resources. I have lots of ones there, but more are going to come soon that match exactly with this AP exam series. So if you found this video helpful, please do give it a like, subscribe, ring the bell so that you'll get notifications when the next video in this series comes out. Leave a comment, a question, or an emoji down below. And again, if you want to check out my TPT resources at Know and Grow with Gnomes. Keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you next time.